Hi there. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to the show. Now let's get going. I'd like to start the show with a quote by the prolific American writer and social activist, Langston Hughes. I have discovered in life that there are ways of getting almost anywhere you want to go if you really want to go. Now that's a deep quote and something worth really taking the time to contemplate and reflect upon. So let's read that again, shall we? I have discovered in life that there are ways of getting almost anywhere you want to go if you really want to go. And today, we're going to talk about what we want and what we fear on this episode of the All Around Growth Podcast. And this is episode number 87 of the show. And for those of you who may be new to the show, this is a show where we talk about how and why we are building the lives of our dreams. My name is Rob Kaiser, and I am your host. Today is Friday, January 29th, 2021, and it is another chilly morning. These podcasts come to you from my truck, and they are recorded during my commute to work. Each episode is raw and unedited, just like me. So we're going to talk about what we want and what we fear. And I think it's important to share how this quote entered my life today. It's not something that it is something now. I actually went online and changed my cover photo and put it in the Facebook group for the show, which I'm really not all that active in. But that was the quote of the day. And that was the quote of the day in the Best Self Journal. And again, I'm going to read it a third time because I think it was so profound, and it essentially generated the thoughts and ideas that went into this show. Here we go. I have discovered in life that there are ways of getting almost anywhere you want to go if you really want to go. Now, a little bit of backstory on this particular episode and why we are talking about this today, what we want and what we fear. I originally wanted to do some talk about motivation, but what was on my mind this morning was kind of in line with this. And as you listen to this story, which I'm about to share with you, you will understand why I shifted gears a little bit and wanted to talk about what we want, what we fear instead. So when I woke up this morning, I took a shower and decided that before journaling, because I woke up early and I've been waking up early in order to do some priority work in the mornings and do some work for me. I am the most important person in my life. I have objectives and goals that I want to accomplish far and above my day job. So I also understand and acknowledge that I'm most productive first thing in the morning. So in order to spend the most efficient time of the day on myself, I am getting up earlier, to the point where I am getting up before 5 a.m. Today it was approximately 4:45. And I decided that my priority work today, instead of writing or doing something, was going to be cleaning up the kitchen a little bit. I've allowed it to get out of hand. So also, it's a rest day. I'm not working out intensely, but I am working out intensely, but I'm not spending a lot of time working out, but I am working out consistently. And we're going to talk about that in a future episode. So stay tuned if podcasts about fitness, health, and working out are your thing. Now, while I was cleaning up and doing the dishes, I turned on the TV, turned on YouTube, and let The Strangest Secret in the World play in the background, which is something I've been listening to consistently for the past month. I've linked to it in the show notes, and if you're not familiar with The Strangest Secret in the World, I would highly recommend that you check it out. So this is basically my background music while I'm doing the dishes and the cleaning. And then I realized that I'm sort of off my schedule and my routine here, so I better go journal before I do anything else and before I continue the work that I was already engaged in, okay? So I do that. I go back into the back room of the office and sit down at the desk there, and I begin journaling. I sit down and I take a sip of my coffee and I open the journal and I read the quote at the very top of the page. I have discovered in life that there are ways of getting almost anywhere you want to go, if you really want to go. Now keep in mind, at this moment, in the background, I've got The Strangest Secret in the World audio recording playing. And at that moment, the line in that recording played the following. There are two things that may be said of everyone. Each of us wants something, and each of us is afraid of something. Then my ears perked up and I thought, that's appropriate. And to provide some context to that little quote, I also want to read a little bit of what was spoken before and after that quote. Now, I'll try to outline the 30-day test I want you to make. Now, keep in mind that you have nothing to lose by making this test and everything you could possibly want to gain. There are two things that may be said of everyone. Each of us wants something, and each of us is afraid of something. I want you to write on a card what it is you want more than anything else. It may be more money. Perhaps you'd like to double your income or make a specific amount of money. It may be a beautiful home. It may be success at your job. It may be a particular position in life. It could be a more harmonious family. Each of us wants something. Write down on your card specifically what it is that you want. Make sure it is a single goal and clearly defined. You needn't show it to anyone, but carry it with you so that you can look at it several times a day. Now, I'm going to do another show on this 30-day test, and this episode this morning was good food for fodder on future content for this podcast. Now, I actually did this 30-day test, and the consistency with which I've been listening to The Strangest Secret in the World has been for about the past month. Now, my goal was simple, and it was a kettlebell workout. And that's what we're going to get into on a fitness episode later. Now, I've stuck to the schedule, and I've accomplished my goal, which was do this simple workout 3 to 4 times a week, a minimum of 3 times a week. But I've stuck to it 4 times a week, rotating with 1 day off in between, workout, day off, workout, day off, workout, day off, workout, day off. And I've done that for the entire month of January. And it's amazing how a simple little habit like that will change your life. Now, this is not something that's taken a lot of time. This has taken less than 2 hours a week for me to do this series of workouts. It doesn't even take me a half an hour. Okay? And the idea of incorporating a physical workout or something beyond the yoga and stretching that I was doing, which there's value in, and I really need to get back to that, but I wanted to do something different, and I got the idea of returning to a workout from Dan Miller, 48 Days, the author of the book 48 Days to the Work and Life You Love. And in a recent episode, he talked about how he experienced a recent burnout several years ago. Yes, Dan Miller experiencing a burnout. And what he did to work towards solutions in his life so that he could get over and work through the symptoms of that burnout. And he spoke about functional medicine, and that's a great episode. It was a recent episode, sometime in late December, early January, late December 2020, early January 2021. That's the 48 Days podcast with Dan Miller. And, you know, his approach towards life and work had changed on account of that burnout, it sounds like, to something more holistic of an approach. And instead of focused on work and career, you know, he changed the title of the book in this most recent edition to 48 Days to the Work and Life You Love. And I really appreciate that, because it indicates to me that he is a well-balanced thinker. And, you know, while we both want and fear things, I prefer to focus on the want. I prefer to focus on results. And that's kind of what this show has become. It's kind of become a conglomerate of experiences that I am actively engaging in, and I'm doing so in order to live my best life. And by listening to this show, you're along for the ride with me, and subsequently you are likely on a similar path. I know this for a fact because many of the episodes that have been recorded have been a direct result of audience feedback. And I love hearing it, and I would love for you to be a greater part of the audience and participate with the ones who are providing the feedback and myself. And you can best do that through the Telegram Messenger app, and you can find us there in the group All Around Growth. And if you don't have the Telegram Messenger app, the easiest way that you can do that is just go to your internet browser, whatever you're on, Mac, PC, doesn't matter. Just type in t.me/allaroundgrowth, and you will be connected almost instantaneously with this small but vibrant community of listeners that we have, along with myself. It's a great way to get to know one another and talk about life on life's terms and everything that's going on in our lives. And a great way to support one another as we're all basically walking each other home. So if you like what you heard, go to the show notes, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and in all capital letters, you'll see a link that says, click here to rate and review the podcast. That'll take you to Apple Podcasts. That's the best place for us right now to rate and review the podcast. Please give it a 5-star rating if you like it. And if you feel so inclined, give a written review. Both of those things are very helpful as we try to grow the show. And like I said, if you don't want to use Telegram, but you still want to reach out and provide some feedback to the show, you can certainly do that. Just shoot me an email at allaroundgrowth@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. My favorite shows are the audience feedback shows because I know that I am actually connecting with a listener in that moment, someone who's actively listened to the show already and someone who is interested in my feedback on their particular situation in life. So keep the feedback coming, keep the suggestions coming. I love it. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listening. And whoops, I can't back up either. So I was trying to time my my parking job with the actual ending of the show so it would sound awesome and professional, but I screwed that up because I still, after years of owning this great big truck of mine, still struggle and have challenges with parking the damn thing. Oh well, I am not the man I had hoped and wished to be. So I will continue on this path right alongside you. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you being a part of this show. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.